Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys. We are back with some Barca news to discuss because, of course, we're going to continue to build up to that PSG versus Barca game. We're also going to be talking today about Xavi's future once again. Lots of reports have been emerging on that, and we're going to be going through both the accurate ones and also the not so accurate ones, along with Bernardo Silva. There's been rumours about him over the past few days too, and we have to discuss it. So come on, guys, and let's do this. But I do want to kick off today with some extra special super thanks donations, and this one right here to Rex3, who's been a big fan of the channel now for a long time, and he has just welcomed the newest cooler to the family. Welcome there to his newly born daughter, Mappy, and a huge congratulations to him and his family there. Fantastic news. There's also been lots of super thanks coming in from India. Many of you there watching, and I really appreciate all the support that I get from India. I know many of you guys are here right now, so thank you indeed for that. But let's start talking about that PSG game, because I want to start by talking here about Luis Enrique, who actually spoke out recently about the rest that Barcelona will have coming into that first leg, because Lucho there said that Barca have 10 days of rest before the game, whereas we at PSG, we have matches to play. He said, which one is better? He said, we will never really know, but he said, since I have to play 3 games, I'm going to say it's better to play 3 games. But he said, if I had 10 days rest, then I'd probably say that it's best to have the 10 days to prepare for it. So Luis Enrique there wouldn't really be drawn on which team he felt had the advantage. But I think it's interesting because PSG, in the build-up to the first leg, they played last night there on Wednesday, a 1-0 victory over Rennes. They will play again at home on Saturday before then facing Barca on Wednesday. But what is interesting here is, as much as Barca will have that rest before the first leg, ahead of the second leg though, the roles will be reversed, because it's PSG then that will have no game in between the 2 legs. Barca will have to play on the weekend in between, so I think we will see both sides of that. Both teams will get rest at different times, and who will take advantage? Because I've got to be honest with you guys, this long break before the first leg, I think it is making some of us nervy, and I think that's understandable, because Barca, as we know, usually come back after a 2-week international break, for example, feeling a little bit off the pace. You know, when we come back after a bit of a spell away, it takes time to get into our stride again, and I think we even saw that a bit against Las Palmas recently. But I think what we have to acknowledge right now is that this is not an international break. This is actually a very different kind of situation, because during an international break, of course, players, they're all around the world. They're flying off for their countries, they're playing in matches, they're away from the club. But right here and right now, Xavi has the whole squad together at his disposal there. He's able to train every day. He's able there to actually work on things on the training ground, to plan for this game without any interruption at all. All this team is thinking about right now is PSG, and surely that should be a good thing here, having that time to work specifically on tactics for this game, to understand the shape of the team, to look into set pieces maybe, and actually try out a few things perhaps that we wouldn't usually get the time to prepare, the time to plan these different kinds of things in training sessions, because usually the games are coming so quickly at a time. And I think it's very wise what we are hearing right now, that Barca are actually planning to play an internal training match on Saturday. So what we're going to have there is a competitive game between the players in the first team. There may be some youth players involved in that setup as well, just to keep the intensity there ahead of that PSG game. It's also going to be assessed in that training match how Frenkie de Jong is doing, how Pedri is doing, how Andreas Christensen is doing, how are they going to be ahead of that PSG game. And what we are hearing in the media right now, guys, is if Frenkie de Jong cannot start in midfield, and if Pedri also cannot start there as well, then reports say right now that Xavi is strongly considering starting Sergi Roberto in this match here. He would rather play Sergi Roberto, apparently, than Fermin Lopez against PSG. And I'm wondering, guys, what would your takeaway on that be? Would you be happy to see Roberto start in that first leg in midfield? Do you think that would be the right way to go? For me, it would look a little bit more conservative, maybe. But my personal opinion is, Frenkie will play. I really do believe that right now, guys. I think Frenkie de Jong, he's been out with an ankle sprain. Obviously not ideal. Obviously, he would have liked him to have had games coming into this one, but I still believe he can be ready to start the game, because with an ankle sprain, you're either recovered or you're not. You know, when he's back, when he's ready to go, you can play him, because you don't have to worry there about a relapse. You don't have to worry there about any concerns with that ankle anymore. So if he is ready, if he has fully recovered, and it looks like he will be, I would not be at all surprised if he starts this game. And what I would also really like to know from you guys ahead of these PSG matches, and especially given that we have lots of extra time here to plan and prepare ourselves, what videos would you like to see in the build-up to those games? Obviously, you've got the match preview. We're going to have a tactical preview as well coming up on the channel, of course. But is there anything else that you'd like to see? Is there any other aspects that you'd like to see explored there ahead of these massive, massive matches? Please do let me know all of that down below. But if we do move on to some of the many rumours that we've heard, actually, about Xavi's future right now, and I want to start with this one here that has linked Xavi with a move this summer to Ajax. And that is a really intriguing rumour there. Apparently Ajax right now, they are very, very keen to start a new era at their club. They need a leader. They need something to sort of base their new project around. And they are thinking right now, could they tempt Xavi as their new coach? And they're also willing to include Jordi Cruyff in all of this, who we know Xavi had a very, very good relationship there. Jordi Cruyff would be the sporting director at Ajax. Xavi would be the head coach. And of course right now, if Xavi was to leave Barcelona, he would like to have a break from the game. He would like to take there a sabbatical, some time away, but could he be tempted there by a project at Ajax? I think on the face of it, it would be incredibly exciting. I've got to say, you know, Ajax, of course, is a club that really deserves to be on the biggest stage. They deserve to be having battles against the best teams in the world because of their history, because of the incredible foundations of the club. And to see Xavi as part of that, it would be very, very exciting indeed. And it's actually the kind of move, guys, that I sort of wish Xavi would have made before coming to Barca, in a way, because obviously Xavi arrived in a really difficult moment. He did very, very well. He exceeded expectations initially, and he turned the club around, no debate about that. But I just wonder there, what that bit of extra experience in Europe could have done for him. If he'd have gone to somewhere like Ajax, gained that experience in Europe, particularly in the difficult moments, in the difficult times there when things aren't going your way, when you're having losses, when you're having pressure, would it have made Xavi a little bit more battle-hardened, maybe, ahead of the Barcelona job? We will never know, of course, but that there, it's an interesting rumour. But we're also hearing different kinds of things in the media right now, because we've also heard there a big report that came out and said, look, Xavi will only stay at Barca if there's money to spend this summer, if he feels as though he can improve and really strengthen this team, with players there like Zubimendi mentioned, also Bernardo Silva, who we're going to discuss in just a moment's time. But I do have to say, guys, on a report like this, I just don't buy it here, whereby you're saying Xavi will only stay if there's money to spend. It is all going to be based around bringing players in, because let's be honest here, guys, if Xavi doesn't have money to spend in a summer, in a transfer window, it's not because the club don't want to give it to him. It's not because they're withholding that money from Xavi. It's because we literally can't do it, because of financial fair play, because of the restrictions in La Liga. And by the way, Xavi understands that more than anybody, more than any coach in the world. He really gets the club situation. That's why Barca actually are so keen that he continues at the club. And I just can't see here Xavi making any demands like that in terms of spending money, in terms there of bringing players in. He knows what's happening at the club. He knows what we are and are not able to do. But what I would argue is maybe more influence in transfers. That is something that maybe I could believe. If Xavi was to say, okay, I will stay on, but I want some of that power back that we know Deco, since he's come in as the sporting director, he has had a lot more influence in signings. He has had a lot more say in the players that come into the club. And some of that power has drifted away from Xavi. So where I could maybe understand this right now is if Xavi was saying, okay, I'll stay, but give me that power back. I want to be in full control. Again, that is something that certainly is more believable. And there is another report as well that has come out. There's lots, like I say right now, guys. With each passing day, apparently, confidence in the dressing room about Xavi staying, it's increasing. Apparently, many players inside of the club believe Xavi will end up staying, that he will change his mind, and they see him right now working with a renewed energy. They see him with a different kind of spirit, and they are confident that he will end up staying at the club. And what I truly believe about all of this is quite simple. We will know in the next few weeks. We will know there off the back of these games against PSG, off the back of the Classico, know exactly what's going to happen. I think it's all going to fall into place one way or another regarding Xavi's future. We do, though, guys, have to talk about Bernardo Silva, because this is one of those players, by the way, that Xavi, like I say, really does like, and he would actively still want him to come to the club. And could that still happen this summer? Maybe, because it has been widely reported recently that Bernardo has a €50 million release clause that is going to become active in the summer transfer window. That was a clause that is written in to his new contract that he signed last summer, but that was only when he was unable to sign for Barca. We know that Bernardo really wanted to come. He still does. We know that Jorge Mendes is his agent. That is only going to be helpful in negotiations. Things can happen when it comes to Mendes, but is it a move that should happen right now? Because when you're talking about €50 million, Bernardo Silva right now is 29 years old. He will be 30, though, by the way, in August this summer. And he is still playing, though, at a very, very high level. And by modern standards in football, I think 50 million is a price that many clubs who are interested in Bernardo would still pay. You know, they go out, they pay 50 million, top class, world class player coming in, they'd be happy with that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good price for Barca, because our situation is difficult, as we know, to many other clubs out there. Because I see it right now, guys, as much as Bernardo wants to be here, as much as I admit that he definitely would fit our team, I see why Xavi likes him, I see why Xavi would want him here, and that he's been so keen on him for several seasons now. I don't doubt any of that. But with Bernardo, ahead of the summer transfer window, I never ever feel like he's going to be the priority. Like, going into the window, you're thinking, okay, number one target, Bernardo Silva, €50 million. I always feel as though he's a bonus player. He is a luxury signing, left there basically until the end of the window if something miraculous opens up. But I never feel as though he's somebody we're going to all out go for and really put the money on the line. Because I think this summer, unless there's a position there, unless it's a profile that we desperately need, like a pivot, for example, that is something that's much more of a priority for us. I don't see us going out and spending big money, splashing their €50 million on a player maybe that's not necessarily a priority. I can't see it happening. But what do you guys think? You know, would you like to see Bernardo Silva at Barca? There's many people there who do like his profile, that do like his style of football. He is a great player, but can you see it happening? And should that be a priority for Barca ahead of the summer transfer window? So please, guys, do let me know all of your thoughts, all of your takeaways here from the video today. And like I say, we are still building up to that game. It has been a really quiet period here. It's been a strange time waiting and waiting and waiting now with no weekend game to come. It's not ideal here, but there will be lots coming up. Things will get busier. Things will get a lot more intense as the days go on. And I will see you guys soon. For all of that good stuff to come, thank you indeed for watching and for all of your support. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.